Fox Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Ohio.
The Indians had an epic experience in Puerto Rico. 25 innings of baseball, 25 pitchers used, over 8.5 hours of hardball, all highlighted by a heroic return home for Francisco Lindor on Tuesday night. Now, after a day of rest for the pitchers, the Tribe starts a 4-day tour of Baltimore. Trevor Bauer will get the ball in Game 1, trying to duplicate dominant outings from Corey Kluber and Carlos Carrasco, next on Sports Time Ohio. Francisco Lindor had only one hit in the 2-game series in Puerto Rico, but what a memorable home run it was for him. Meanwhile, Manny Machado, riding a 7-game hitting streak for Baltimore, leads the Orioles in homers and runs batted in. He's trying to get them off the schneid. They've lost 6 in a row. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Indians back to work here tonight after an off day yesterday here in Baltimore. Trevor Bauer will get the start for the Tribe. And, Rick, he has struck out 7 batters in each of his first 3 starts, and he seems to be getting a little stronger and a little better each time out.
And he did it in 1 start last year as well. And Trevor's been throwing the ball very well. In his last 2 starts, coming off a win against the Detroit Tigers where he pitched 7 innings. That slider that he's worked on is getting much better. He always has that good curveball. So Trevor's trying to step up and follow those first 2 guys that he's pitching behind. And that's one thing the Indians have done so well. They pitched well all year long. And in Puerto Rico, in the 24 innings, 24 strikeouts, 19 hits allowed, just 2 earned runs. Unfortunately, they could only get 1 of the wins there. 1 game went 16 innings, and they are coming here to start a 4-game series here in Baltimore.
And as Terry Francona told me earlier, when a team's not getting the clutch hits, they have to do the little things. They have to execute some of the small ball tactics. We'll see if that comes into play here tonight. We'll be back. Play-by-play action. Indians-Orioles next. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Who But W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. And by Cleveland Clinic Express Care online. Tap the app for 24/7 virtual visits. Park at Camden Yards here in Baltimore on a chilly evening for baseball as the Indians road trip continues. Tribe comes in at 9-7. Baltimore is 5-14 so far this year. And let's go downstairs to get the final word before the first pitch from Andre Knight.
Thank you very much, Matt. For the Orioles, I'll have Dylan Bundy on the mound, a young pitcher who's coming into his own. He's a guy that used to get up to 95, 96. He'll sit tonight around 92 miles an hour. Now, he has a curveball, and he has a slider as well. The curveball is a pitch that he'll use early in the count. He'll bounce it later in the count. Sometimes he gets swings and misses, but this all comes down to the slider. He has a power slider that gets many guys out, and it's the pitch the Indians know that they have to be conscious of throughout the evening because that's what he gets his outs with.
All right, thank you, Andre. Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he throws a lot of strikes, about 69% strikes so far this year. And we'll take a look at our Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher, Dylan Bundy, 25, 6'1", 225. Hey, look, he doesn't have a win, but his ERA is at 140 this year. He's pitched very well, and he has not gotten very good run support.
All right, let's take a look at the Indians starting lineup for Terry Francona, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Francisco Paquito Lindor will lead it off. Then Jason Kipnis. Jose Ramirez will bat third. Michael Brantley hitting cleanup. Then it's Edwin Encarnacion, followed by Yonder Alonso. Roberto Perez, Tyler Naquin, and Bradley Zimmer round it out. And we're ready to go as Lindor steps in for the Indians. Baltimore has lost 6 in a row. The Indians have won 7 of their last 10 after splitting the 2-game series in Puerto Rico. First pitch in there for a strike. Our game time temperature is 58 degrees. Not a cloud in sight, but a considerable breeze at times. Although right now you look out there and the flags are hanging limp. But you look out beyond the ballpark.
Right. And
the flags downtown, they're blowing, looks like from left field to right field. Frankie swings and misses. And strikes out to start the game, 1 away.
Let's check out the Orioles defense today. They've made 13 errors. They've turned 18 double plays, ranked 10th in the league. It'll be Mancini, Jones, and Santander in the outfield. On the infield, it'll be Beckham, Machado, Sardinas, and Davis, with Cisco doing the catching.
The umpires tonight: Gabe Morales behind the plate, Ed Hickox at first, John Tumpane at second, Ron Culpa, the crew chief, at third base. Jason Kipnis takes a look. The pitch is down low, ball 1. Kipnis has hit in 5 straight games, going 7 for his last 25 at the dish. During that time, he's also scored 3 runs, driven in 3 runs, and he also has 3 doubles. Pitch is down low, 2-0. Pitch way outside, 3-0.
This is normally a ballpark where the Indians come in later in the year when it's hot and humid. You know, we don't get in here this early, and usually the ball carries very well in this ballpark in the summertime.
Taking all the way, it's in there for a strike. Yeah, the term "the park plays small" is usually something that you hear.
Great park to hit in
when people are talking about Oriole Park. Got him out front, full count.
That's a good changeup on a 3-1 pitch. And you can see the movement going down and away. It's 85 miles an hour. He's throwing about 90, 91 right now. And you can see that grip coming out of the glove. Looking for the fastball, get the change.
And the payoff pitch is a fastball popped up, foul ground. There's the catcher. Cisco can't locate it. And Jason Kipnis has new life.
Got to see what happened right there. That had some hang time to it. There's a fastball inside, and Cisco's going to run over there. And I don't know if the wind did tricks or he didn't pick it up off the bat. And Davis at first, he didn't have a chance for it, so he never really, you didn't even see him in your picture.
Looked like he was anchored to the bag. Again, the 3-2. And he gets a changeup off the end of the bat, pokes it into right field for a base hit.
That stayed up there, that changeup.
Tonight's storylines are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Can the Indians get the offense rolling? And the question here in Baltimore, is this Manny Machado's last season with the Birds?
Boy, you would, you know, just thinking about it when they haven't had any talks about a contract, you would think so. You know how tough it's going to be, because I mean that's his opportunity to go challenge free agency. But boy, this guy's, I'm sure he's expecting a lot.
Jose Ramirez starting to heat up now. He's hit in 7 straight games, and during those 7 games he's gone 10 for 28 with 3 homers and 4 runs batted in.
You talk about the Indians heating up offensively. That is true. I mean, they are last in the league in hitting, coming in with a .208 team batting average, hitting with runners in scoring position. And what Tito says, when you're getting the pitching that they're getting, it's the little things that they have to execute.
2-0 count, and Ramirez takes. That was a generous strike call. 2-1.
Well, take a peek at this one. It's down, it's away. That is a very generous call.
And it's almost impossible to hit.
Well, in a 2-0 count, you're not going to hit it, so you take it. I can see why he didn't even offer at it.
Well, Ramirez thinking about a bunt. Pulled it back, though. 3-1.
Well, what happened after the 2-1 count, Beckham went from third base to second base and vacated that left side of the infield. And Ramirez was saying, hey, if you're going to give me the bunt base hit, he was thinking about it.
Now he's in a pretty fat hitter's count. Kipnis held at first by Davis, not running, and the pitch fouled back, full count. He might be going on this pitch. We'll see. Ramirez not a guy that strikes out a lot.
No, you send him here. Send him in this situation, try and get a hole going. And so far, from Bundy, a lot of changeups in this first inning here. Not the breaking ball early or that slider. It's been the changeups.
You think that's a scouting report that's already gotten around that
possibly
Indians could be susceptible to that pitch? Runner goes, payoff pitch, popped in the air, foul, out of play. Got his fastball, but for Bundy, it was in a pretty good spot. It was away, and Ramirez fights it off.
The thing of it is, with a starting pitcher, you come out there, you're going to go with what feels good, you know, and he feels like he's got it, and he's got good arm speed with it. And if he's throwing it for strikes and they're swinging at it, why not stay with it?
Runner goes. Again, the pitch is outside, ball 4. He went with that changeup again. And Rick, we heard Andre talking about the Indians coming in aware of the slider, and because Bundy has such a great slider, is that also a pitcher's way of thinking, you know, early on, I'm not going to show him the slider, especially if I've got good feel for something else.
Well, stay with your feel pitch, and he's going to get to that slider if that's his bread and butter. There's no doubt about it. When he gets into trouble, you may see it now when you get runners in scoring position. So a lot of times I think pitchers will go out there, and if they get their fastball hit early, they'll go right to that breaking ball and say, hey, I need my outs. I don't want to let him get a run.
6 of his 17 pitches so far have been the changeup. Brantley lines one off the end of the bat, left center field. It's dropping, and it's in for a base hit, but Kipnis did not get a real good read on it. He wanted to be sure. He gets to third. Now the bases are loaded with only 1 out.
One guy that has been swinging the bat for the Indians, Michael Brantley, didn't hit it that well, but placed it beautifully off the end of the bat. And with Kipnis, you can't blame him. You can't take off in that situation and get doubled off. There was a good fastball low, and Jones wasn't going to get there. You just got to make sure it drops and you move up 90 feet.
If I'm Jason Kipnis, I've seen enough highlight films of Adam Jones to know he can catch just about anything.
Yeah, you can't take yourself out of a rally.
Now Edwin Encarnacion with a chance to break out. Bases loaded, one down, and a swing and a miss.
Well, that's the one thing Bundy has been outstanding on against this year's right-handed hitters, hitting just a 104 against him. 48 at-bats. He's allowed just 5 hits. But you don't need to hit here. Sacrifice fly. Keep it off the ground.
That slider backed up on him, and he nicks Edwin with it. And the Indians take a 1-0 lead.
Was that the slider?
I think he cut under it.
Okay. Okay, that's what I'm saying. There's his best pitch that he hasn't really gone to yet. And see if you can hear it. Just nicked him. You heard a little bit, not much, but you got to get hit. Boy, you get an RBI, you keep the line moving. The Indians take a 1-0 lead.
Rick, the first pitch to Edwin was a really good slider, down and away, and he got a swing and a miss with it. But maybe he was trying to make it even nastier, and he cut under it.
That's what happens sometimes with a pitcher. They try to make that second slider better than the first and get underneath it.
Yonder Alonso takes down low, ball 1.
This is what the Indians could use early as a big inning.
They've got the opportunity. 3 on the right side of the infield for Baltimore, so they still go with the shift even with the bags loaded up. But it's Machado who stays on the left side of the infield by himself. And Alonso out in front. 1-1. That's.
Well, Bundy last faced the Indians June 19th of last year, right in this ballpark. He was given the loss, gave up 6 earned runs on 6 hits in 4 1/3 innings. The Indians can do a little more damage to him here in this first.
Alonso pops one in the air.
He's not going to do it.
Mancini in. The left fielder makes the catch. Ramirez will tag, but he will not try to score. And there are 2 down. And that's going to bring up Roberto Perez. And Perez has now collected a hit in 3 straight games, going 4 for his last 10 at the plate. As a team, the Indians batting just .205 with runners in scoring position.
That's one thing a team needs when you're in a situation you've been hitting like the Indians and you haven't been getting hits with runners in scoring position, is a 2-out base hit. It seems like it takes a lot of pressure off the offense when the first guy gets it, and it just seems like it just makes it that much easier. So if Perez could get one right here and focus on right center field. Two bad swings out of the gate.
0-2. Well, here's the thing, though, with Dylan Bundy. He gets more swings and misses with that slider than any pitcher in baseball. He's got a swinging strike rate of 35% when he throws that pitch.
Must be tough to pick up the spin on it if you're a hitter, because they do a little look like defensive swings. That's what he goes to when he gets in trouble.
He gets a couple of strikeouts. The Indians leave him loaded. They do manage a run and grab the early lead. Baltimore is coming to bat.
Trevor Bauer. He will be the Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher for the Tribe tonight. Trevor looking for his second win in his last start. He was able to beat the Detroit Tigers in 7 innings. He has not won in this ballpark. He's 0-3, so he's looking for his first big league win in this yard.
And the Baltimore starting lineup looks like this. Trey Mancini leads it off. Pedro Alvarez hitting second. Then it's Manny Machado. Adam Jones hitting cleanup. Chris Davis will bat fifth. Then it's Tim Beckham, followed by Anthony Santander, Chance Sisco, and Luis Sardinas batting ninth. Trey Mancini brings a 7-game hitting streak into tonight's contest. Looks at a first pitch fastball for a strike one.
And Mancini has settled into that leadoff spot. He's taken to it very nicely, hitting .333 out of that spot.
Curveball bounces in, 1-1.
And in 13 games batting leadoff.
Two balls and a strike. And what your leadoff man you want him to do is score runs. He's scored a run in 4 straight games. Baltimore's actually, to this point of the season, they've actually gotten better overall starting pitching than they probably thought they would get. But like the Indians, the offense at times just hasn't really clicked.
When they've pitched well, they haven't scored. When they're scoring runs, they haven't pitched. It's just one of those combinations that Buck wants to get it rolling. I mean, they're not playing well together as a team.
Slowly chopped to second. Jason Kipnis gets the nice hop. 1 away.
Let's look at the Indians defense, brought to you by Ram. It'll be Michael Brantley in left field, Bradley Zimmer in center, Tyler Naquin over in right. Jose Ramirez is at third, Francisco Lindor at second, Jason at short, Kipnis is at second, Yonder Alonso at first, Roberto Perez doing the catching with Bauer on the mound.
Indians go with a shift here for Pedro Alvarez.
It's that big slow hook. That one, he slowed it down enough where you keep your eye on it. A lot of times he throws that curveball early, it'll bounce in the dirt. Perez has a lot of work to do.
Came back with it but missed, and Alvarez not offering. 1-1. Alvarez DHing for Baltimore.
Yeah, another thing you talk about the Orioles, they have some pretty good players on the disabled list as well. When you look at Mark Trumbo, he's been out, and you've got Jonathan Scope, Kobe Rasmus. You know, offensively, some guys that can certainly stretch that lineup out and make them a lot better.
The 2-1. Fouled right back where Alvarez had a good rip at that high fastball,
and
but it was up enough.
And it looked like one of the hands came off the bat.
Sure did.
He's looking for some grip. Watch how it slips off the end of the bat. He had a healthy cut. Watch the right hand. There it was. It fell right off the bat.
Oh, what a breaking ball. And Alvarez gave up on it, and it's in there for strike 3, 2 down.
Well, this is the slider, the pitch that Bauer was working on this winter. You see, he expected that curveball. That's why he started him off curveball, had him look at the big sweep, and then tightened it up when he got to 2 strikes and really locked him up.
Because if you're a hitter and you're not looking slider, you first think that's going to be the curveball, and it won't stay in the strike zone.
That's right. You stay right there, and what it does, it stays on a little plane and a little tilt, and it tightens up maybe a little bit harder. Good pitch.
Well, with 2 down, here's Manny Machado. He's the one guy on this Orioles team that has been really playing well. He's hit in 7 straight, but that's just scratching the surface.
Here's the guy you just don't want to beat you. He had a couple of home runs yesterday against the Tigers, but
good curveball had him fooled. 1-1.
I know when the game comes around on the line and you can see the numbers against Bauer, I just end up pitching around him and walking.
Put up the 4 fingers.
Yeah, and then you'd have to go at another good hitter, Adam Jones. But I mean, that's the poison I would pick.
Tap back to the mound. Bauer has it and throws him out. The Orioles go in order. We go to the second. Cleveland 1, Baltimore 0. years, it's really been a tale of two completely different season series. Last year, the Indians dominated, winning 6 out of 7. Their ERA against Baltimore was 2.03, while the Orioles' ERA against the Indians was 5.85. Go back to 2016, just 2 years ago, it was completely flip-flop. Right. Baltimore won 5 out of 6. They had the low ERA. The Indians had the ERA over 5. So it's hard to figure out what we're going to see this year.
Well, I remember coming into this ballpark a number of times where those hitters, they hit it all over the ballpark.
Tyler Naquin, big cut, comes up empty.
For me, as a hitter, I think I would concentrate on staying back if he's only throwing 90-91, because the pitches he's shown early are the changeup and the very good slider. So you see him out in front, the hitters. If you try to pull this guy, you're in trouble. He's going to strike you out. You're going to hit a little weak grounder. You better concentrate on going the other way, staying back on the baseball. He's already shown you that in the first inning.
The 1-2. Out front, breaking ball straight up in the air. And it's going to drop. Oh, my goodness. Now they're going to say foul ball.
No.
What are they saying?
I thought he picked it up fair, and I was going to say let it bounce.
What are they saying?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They can't. The whole plate umpire called it foul. A third base umpire didn't say a word. You can't challenge that.
Well, the home plate umpire is Gabe Morales.
That ball looked like it hit the grass, I thought. And Beckham was coming in, and I thought he was on the grass, but I thought the ball hit in the grass, to be honest with you. Tito gets his explanation. Let's see. All right, the ump's right there. Here it comes. It hits the grass.
But then
I have to disagree with that.
Did he grab it in foul territory?
I don't think so. But he was in fair too. Really weird play. And again, the catcher had it, and that's the second time he's messed a ball up right there. And did you see Bundy coming in there? I thought that was a fair ball.
Well, it definitely bounced first in fair territory.
Well, he sort of blocked us.
Yeah, that was hard to see with the umpire. There's a slow roller up the gut. Tough play for Sardinas, and Naquin beats it out.
Well, he picked up some speed going down the line because he didn't get a good jump out of the box after that ball shattered his bat, but it was placed perfectly.
This is a worm burner.
Yeah, I mean, watch, Sardinas coming in. You see, then he gets rid of the bat and he starts opening it up. But by the time he can get that ball to first base, Tyler beats it out. He was jammed. He hustled all the way down and hustled his way into an infield single.
Well, an opportunity now for Bradley Zimmer. Zimmer takes the ball down and in. Zim has now hit in 6 straight games. He's gone 9 for his last 21 at the plate. In that first game in Puerto Rico, well, he really swung the bat well. I think he had a pair of doubles in the first game against Minnesota. Now the 2-0.
Oh boy.
Deep center field, but not deep enough. Adam Jones has room, makes the catch.
I like the approach though.
1 down. Tonight's Jim Thome Hall of Fame moment is brought to you by Mike Bassford. Game 5 of the '95 World Series.
The old bat flip. Look at it again. Yeah, that was it.
I think I remember Jim saying about that moment, he said, I didn't even realize I had flipped the bat like that, because that really wasn't his style.
No, it wasn't. You're right.
Francisco Lindor takes ball 1. He struck out in the first inning. He's got 2 homers, 5 doubles. 6 of those 7 extra base hits have come from the left side of the plate. Up and away, 2-0. Frankie was his usual congenial self in Puerto Rico, smiling for the cameras. He did just about, I think, every interview request that came his way.
He's got to be exhausted.
But by the second day, you could tell it was starting to wear on him a little bit, I think. Just, he didn't have a quiet or free moment. He really didn't. Unless he was in the clubhouse maybe by himself. That was about it.
You could start looking off speed on when you get into hitters counts from Bundy. Already shown what he's doing, and that was a 2-0 changeup.
Tyler Naquin does not have a stolen base attempt yet. Orioles might be thinking hit and run.
Well, they are, because the way that Lindor is struggling the last couple of games of putting the ball in play, maybe they feel they will try and start the runner, create a hole.
There he goes. Pitches up high, and the throw down is a good one.
That was like a pitch out. It was a high fastball that Lindor didn't offer at. Very easy pitch for Cisco to throw, and you know they may. I'll tell you, it was a good throw from Cisco, but when you watch, it's going to be a high fastball and a good pitch to run on. I mean, a good pitch to throw if you're the catcher, and it was right on the money. You tip your cap. He fired it, and if it was a strike, Lindor was going to swing anyway, so you get a caught stealing.
And now 2 down. 3-1 pitch. Fastball. Full count. Shadowed the bat. We'll do it again at 3-2. You mentioned before, Bundy's fastball not necessarily overpowering, but most of the time tonight when he's thrown it, it's been right on that outside part of the plate or off.
Well, that's what he's doing. It's edges with that. He's showing you the fastball and attacking with the changeup and the slider. You know, he may go a little different. You may get more fastballs with nobody on base, but when he gets into trouble, he's going to go with that bread and butter slider.
He hung one that time, got away with it. So we always talk about, well, so-and-so pitched tonight, he made one mistake. It's usually not true. There are times you make a mistake and you get away with it.
Well, true. It's a mistake when a hitter hits it out of the ballpark. It's not a mistake when they foul it off and nobody, you know, they forget about it quickly. That's where you want to see him foul some pitches off the other way to stay on it. I remember Frankie having to do this last year too, earlier in the year, where he had to start focusing on driving the ball the other way and working his way back to the field when he wasn't hitting it.
This would be his 9th pitch of the at-bat. Got in on him, popped it up. Shallow left. Machado. Middle of the 2nd inning. Cleveland 1, Baltimore nothing.
And start your streak for a chance to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today.
Bottom of the second inning. 4, 5, and 6 hitters due for Baltimore. Adam Jones will lead it off. Fastball is high, 1-0. Adam Jones off to a slow start here at home this year. He's just 2 for 24 at Oriole Park. In his career, he's a .285 hitter at home, .270 on the road. So you know, sooner or later, they'll turn it around here at home. And he cuts and misses there, and it's 1-2.
What a trade it was for the Orioles when you see Adam Jones. You can see him on the all-time hit list right there, 1,638. What a job he's done in center field for him. And you talk about presence in the clubhouse and things like that. He is
to right field. Naquin has it for out number 1. Take a look right now at our lows. Whole team together, focusing on the Indians' starting rotation. Look at the ERAs. Kluber, Bauer, Carrasco, Clevenger. Those 4 guys.
It's about as good as you can get.
We'll see Clevenger tomorrow. 4 o'clock start, game 2 of this weekend. Well, it's actually game 2 of a 4-game wraparound series. Big bouncing ball to first base. Yonder Alonso will take it himself. 2 down. Josh Tomlin has been in the starting rotation, but currently, because of the off days and the way things have kind of bounced around, he worked out of the bullpen the other night in Puerto Rico. And that's just that's the very definition of Josh Tomlin. Always team before self.
Well, and you mentioned the off days, you know, the rainouts that come. You're going to keep your guys, your top 3 guys on their day's rest, and you're going to pitch them. That's just the way the game works out.
Won't have that problem now with 18 games scheduled for the next 17 days.
Right. Next off day would be the 7th of May. Remember that makeup with the 2 rainouts against Toronto will take place May 3rd back at the ballpark. Going to be a traditional doubleheader.
High pop up back and out of play.
And boys, with Josh Tomlin, Tito said before that game on Wednesday he wanted to get him some work. He didn't know how it was going to work out. Now that Tomlin threw in that game, he will pitch on Tuesday when the Indians get back home. He will start versus the Chicago Cubs, and they'll go back with the 5-man rotation.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks, Andre. Good update there. Yeah, Carl informed Andre that he was going to be warming up if that game had gone any longer.
I would have loved to see that.
What do you mean?
I said I would have loved to see it. That's all.
I told him tonight. He told me to stay warm. I told him I only got 1 pitch in me. So
what's your go-to pitch, Andre?
Straight cheese, baby.
Atta boy.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss to even the count. I wondered why, when we were in Puerto Rico, Andre kept wandering down the streets yelling, "Alto queso, alto queso." Here's the 2-2, and that's a little too high. Full count. Tim Beckham snapped an 0 for 17 yesterday with a 3-hit performance, and the Orioles lost to Detroit. Payoff pitch is, I guess it was a little outside.
Well, it wasn't up or down, so it had to be outside. First walk for Bauer.
First base runner for Baltimore, and Anthony Santander to the plate. ball, 1 strike. Nice. He gets ahead of him. A ball and 2 strikes. Watch this curveball.
There's our Nissan pitch tracker. It just drops right into the strike zone. Top part of it.
You see why a hitter gives up on it. They don't see many of those big overhand curves
That's
anymore.
right. It's slow enough to where you just have to wait on it. But another thing, the umpire has to stay with it too. A lot of times you see that pitch come from Trevor, you'll see it down in the dirt by the time it gets to the plate.
Pulls it foul just beyond the Orioles dugout.
See how he has to wait for that pitch and how far out in front he was. But with 2 strikes, you got to swing it. Throw to first. Because they'll probably end up coming back with another curveball as far as he was out in front of that one. This time he may try and bounce it, and that's why you keep an eye at the guy at first base. Beckham, he has 1 stolen base this year. 1 for 1. But that's when you can put the steal sign on it when you think Trevor's going to throw that breaking ball.
The 1-2. Almost chased.
Yeah, that was the pitch they were going to do. And, you know, that's where you got to have a lot of confidence in your catcher. Right there. Perez did a nice job. Throw to first and let him know we're thinking about him. And I'm going to come back with that curveball to see if we can get him to chase it in the 1-2 count. And they do a beautiful job of just keeping that ball in front of them, even if they're not running.
The 2-2 is strike 3 call. Bauer locks him up with a good 4-seam fastball. And the side is retired. 2 Ks through 2 scoreless frames for Trevor Bauer. 1-0 Cleveland. Trevor Bauer, Roberto Perez. Pretty good work so far. 3rd inning, 1-0 Indians. Jason Kipnis leads off and looks at a curveball missing way outside. Kipnis got a changeup off the end of the bat, singled into right field in the first inning. Came around to score the game's only run.
Yeah, you remember he caught a break in that at bat where he hit the foul ball and the catcher sort of misplayed it. I don't know if he saw it off the bat or the wind took it or something happened, but he got an extra strike and took advantage. It's the Baltimore team. This is only their 7th home game so far this year. Hard to believe.
Yeah, Baltimore just 3-10 on the road so far this year.
Well, they've run into a couple of hot teams. When you look at the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, who we had an opportunity to see for one game until we lost 2 games against them. They're playing very well themselves.
Swung out and missed. Struck him out with a fastball. And 3 strikeouts for Dylan Bundy so far tonight. Our stat of the game is brought to you by Buick. Jose Ramirez, during his 7-game hitting streak, has 3 home runs, 4 runs batted in, after getting off to a very slow start himself. And the one thing that we noticed right away with Ramirez, even though the hits weren't falling for him, he wasn't swinging on a lot of bad pitches. He was still taking his walks. He wasn't striking out. So you kind of figured he's going to come around.
After the first few games, he was starting to do that. Yes, you could tell he was seeing the baseball. He was taking close pitches just off the plate, you know, and he wasn't front or caught in between on a lot of pitches. And that's when you can tell a hitter is close. He thought about it. He says, nope, I'm not going to go offer. See where that fastball is? He moves it outside, and a lot of hitters are tardy on it, and they're late. And that's okay. You can foul his fastball off, but he hasn't caught in between right now.
2-2. And that's Machado who throws him out. 2 down.
Well, it's not too late to get a prorated Tribe season ticket package for the best seats at the best prices with the best perks. You can save big over single game prices, get access to the summer season ticket autograph party. Just go to Indians.com for the details.
Michael Brantley singled in the first inning, and he now has 10 hits in his last 21 at bats.
Yeah, he's recorded multiple hit games in each of the last 4 contests, so he needs 1 more to get 5. That's the longest streak since, if you remember last year. Remember Jose Ramirez had a 9-gamer from June 14th to the 21st.
Yeah.
Multiple hit games, and he had a lot of extra base hits involved there.
That was the thing you remember about his.
Yeah.
Not sure how many doubles figured into that total number for him during that tear, but it had to be a bunch.
I know it. But that's when the good hitters get on streaks, boy. They just get on a roll, and it seems like everything they hit, the magic wand is working. And Michael got a knock in his first at bat off the end of the bat.
Popped up, foul, and I don't think it's playable. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. When you see a hitter like Brantley hit one off the end of the bat or just kind of flare one in, do hitters, do your colleagues look at you and say, come on, man.
It's not that easy. How do you do that? I mean, everybody else is swinging and missing, and then you hit one off the end and you're going, what are you doing? Look at this.
That's a perfect example.
Exactly.
He makes it look effortless, and he's on his way to second with a double.
And he hooks that little changeup down over, and it catches chalk. You know, other guys hit it, and it's foul. Hang with them, and they get another pitch. Not Michael, good hitters. 5 straight games now, multiple hits in a row. And look at this. Oh, that was a little slide piece there. Middle of the plate, and he turns on it. It speeds up his bat a little bit, stays inside the line, so Michael gets his 3rd double, and it is a 2-out double, by the way.
Rarely, if ever, do you see Brantley in an at-bat look like he swung too hard.
Look at, he's smiling about it, talking to him and Machado. Flares one in for a single, and then gets fooled and kept his hands back for a double.
And now at the other end of the spectrum, you have Edwin, who he's swinging hard when he puts the bat in motion. Though you have seen him at times, whether it's a case where he gives in or if it's just where the pitch is thrown, he'll take a nice level line drive swing.
He'll get it rolling. A lot of these hitters will get it rolling.
Now this was the only run of the game at that point. What was that, the 13th inning? When Edwin homered to give the Indians a 1-0 lead. It was short-lived, however. Shatters the bat. And on one hop, Sardinha is able to throw him out. No runs, a hit, a man left. Middle of the 3rd. It's still Cleveland 1, Baltimore 0. Later in the game for our hold true moment. Here in the bottom of the 3rd, Chance Sisco will lead it off for Baltimore. Swings over the top. It's quickly 0-2. And he takes a called 3rd as Bauer has registered his 3rd strikeout of the night.
Well, Trevor so far tonight, he's been able to get ahead of the hitters early with the curveball. and locating it very well. So he slows them down, and he's done it to a number of the hitters to get ahead. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see the different pitch. There's a slider he locked him up with, waiting for that curveball, and that little two-seam fastball to come in on the inside part of the plate. Saw the hitter shake his head. He knew it, and he has 3 strikeouts.
Well, the goal of that bringing the slider in for Bauer was to be able to go to the lineup the first time and just throw fastball curveballs and mix in a slider. Then the second time through to be able to go fastball slider to keep hitters off balance and not having any idea. So if he does get late in the game, he could then mix in that slider and that curveball.
It's a great idea, man. And, you know, it doesn't surprise me. He did all the homework and thinking about it, that getting the spin rate up on it. And hitters, you know, if you're like a 2-pitch pitcher and then one day you go out there and pitch and you don't have both of your pitches, they can sort of don't worry about that one to swing at. Gives you just one more weapon.
Fouled away.
You know, he has a changeup too that he threw a lot to left-handers, but you don't see that much anymore. There's the curveball, and then you'll see the slider. See the difference? It stays up there, and it just slides a little bit and moves along. It doesn't have that drop or that big hump in it.
Oh, just locked him up with a fastball.
And you see, when they start looking for the off-speed pitch, that's when that number 1 the Express can get by hitters.
He strikes out the last 3 hitters in a row, and that fastball had some run to it.
Well, his last one did too for that other strikeout. So his last 3 strikeouts have been called. All 4 have been called. Now that I look at it.
Yeah, I think at times he gets hitters sort of in the rocking chair, and they don't know which direction to go.
You're taking that rhythm away from him.
Top of the order, Trey Mancini. Grounded out to second base. His only time up.
Okay, the first time through that lineup. Now we'll see what the Orioles hitters may sit on the second time through.
That's hit pretty well, deep right, but there is Naquin, and he makes the catch to retire the side. So the Orioles go in order, and after 3, it's Cleveland 1, Baltimore nothing.
He's trying to frame pitches, and sometimes when you sail out for framing, you're gonna miss balls in the dirt. But when he blocks, man, the ball stays right there. Yeah. So he's a very fundamental catcher. He knows what he's doing. He's very smart. He knows how to set up hitters, and eventually he'll get his shot of catching every day.
That's our Hear Right sounds of the game. That was Sandy Alomar talking about Roberto Perez and just his catching style, and how sometimes how effortless he makes it. It comes off is almost lazy to some, but he says that's not the case with Roberto Perez, that he has worked at it, and he sees one day Roberto being a catcher for someone for a long time and one of the better defensive catchers, guys.
It's a good way of explaining that, Andre. You've heard people say, oh, so-and-so's hot dogging it. No, it's just that some guys make it look so easy that it looks like they're not putting the max effort into it.
Or nonchalant. And unless you watch a guy every day, You know, a lot of times we say that about players we see come in and we only play 6 times against them. You may form an opinion, but when you watch a guy watch him play every day, you really get an idea of what he's all about.
Well, the other thing that Sandy really wanted to get across in talking about Roberto is he's had to tell him that it took him a long time. It took him 6 years in the minors to get to majors, and he's had to teach him patience and just waiting and getting better at his craft. So when his time comes, be prepared.
Alonso rolls one over. That's the third baseman, Beckham, with the shift on. He throws him out.
Sometimes that's the tough thing to do, is have patience, because you want to do it all right now and you want that opportunity.
More so now, because when Sandy went through the process, you're talking about, you know, during the late 1980s, you know, into the early 90s, when he came over to Cleveland, eventually got his opportunity in the big leagues. But Sandy and, you know, our generation kind of understood that was part of the deal. This isn't going to be overnight. You're going to have to work and put your time in and quote unquote pay your dues. Younger players, and this isn't a knock against them, they don't accept that the way we did.
Right,
we just accepted, well, that's the way it has to be. And they say, what? Why? And so I think for a lot of these guys, they want it sped up because they want to get here quicker.
Well, go ahead, Andre.
Matt, that was exactly what Sandy was going through and in telling of Roberto. And he says Roberto understands it. And I think what we talked about there in Puerto Rico is that there have been so many catchers, including Sandy. And he talked about his relationship with Benito Santiago. And all these catchers that have come from Puerto Rico, he says there's this pressure now for these kids. If you're a catcher, you got to make it. And you got to be really good. And he says, told Roberto, stop worrying about that. Just worry about being who you are, and you're going to be absolutely fine.
Well, and the other thing, they got the competition because they have Gomes signed too.
Right.
They both signed the long-term deal, so they have to have patience.
Well,
both of them.
The other good thing about this, last year Roberto Perez was in the top 3 in framing pitches. Do you guys know who's #1 coming into today's game?
Let me guess. Perez.
Yan Gomes.
Is he really?
That competition brings out the best, doesn't it?
Yes, he is. How do they figure that stat out is what I want to know.
You got to wear your sunglasses when you're in Puerto Rico during your interviews to find that out.
But I'm talking about the framing and everything.
I know.
I think pitches that wouldn't be strikes that are strikes.
I don't know how you could figure. Who's to say it wasn't? From a camera? I don't know how they go about figuring that out.
Yeah, they use the same data that every team has, and they go back and look at it and say that pitch
So you're
wasn't a strike, but he got it called a strike.
So Yan Gomes makes umpires look worse than any other catcher in baseball.
Well,
depending on your
makes
perspective.
the umpires look worse.
Look at you. The pitchers know. I can tell you, Bauer knows when his catcher is safe. He knows.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Swung out a miss, pulled the string on him, and Dylan Bundy with his 4th strikeout tonight. Well, Roberto Perez, like so many of the Puerto Rican natives that were in that series, along with Frankie Lindor, Sandy Alomar, and of course Jose Barrios of Minnesota, Eddie Rosario. They had so many friends and family. They had their own cheering sections. And at times it seemed like the entire stadium was cheering for just an individual player at times.
I'm sure they were.
Interesting, Arch. 4 strikeouts for Bauer, all looking. 4 strikeouts for Bundy, all swinging.
Well, Naquin hustled his way to a hit in his first at-bat.
There again, that fastball, but it's away. He hasn't really made too many mistakes in the heart of the plate where Indians hitters have had a real good look at it.
Well, this has been Bundy in a nutshell so far this year. Pitching great, holding his team in a ball game, but they can't score for him.
Yeah, in 4 starts, he's posted an ERA of 1.40, but no wins, 2 losses.
I know he's looking for his first win, and I think they're averaging less than 2 runs a game for him. They haven't done a whole lot.
Naquin almost hammered it right back through Bundy. Somehow he got out of the way.
That's hard to believe. That's the hardest hit ball of the night, and that one went right by his noggin. Ooh. He had a glove up, and it looked like it was past him. That's gonna stop his heart a little bit there. Oh man, he was lucky to get out of the way. You're right. That was the shoulder height, just off. That ball was by him by the time he got the glove up.
Now here's Bradley Zimmer, fly to center, but he stayed on the ball trying to drive it the other way. That approach has netted him some success here in the last week.
Well, I'll tell you that he had a good swing in his first at bat. I thought that ball had a little more carry to it than what it did, but I like the he's not as open right now. Look at that front foot.
Yeah.
There's that slider they're having a tough time pick up. Yeah, that front foot is about halfway to his back foot, so he's not as open in his stance as he was before he went out into Puerto Rico.
That's something you would do to try and stay on the ball and drive it the other way,
he's
right?
open and everything, and sometimes you tie yourself up, and maybe it's freeing his hands up to let him swing the bat. You see, he doesn't look like he's tied up with his arms. But that slider right there can tie anybody up tonight.
He has fanned 5 through 4 innings of work, but the Indians still lead it 1-0. All right, thank you, Al. For Baltimore here in the bottom of the 4th inning, Pedro Alvarez, Manny Machado, Adam Jones due up. And it's ball 1 from Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, it was Pedro Alvarez started them off with the slow hooks. He got him with a slider. There's the changeup. That's the first one I see tonight. 86 mile an hour. See, that's another thing that that Trevor threw a lot to left-handers last year was that changeup.
Pulls it foul.
He's got a 4-pitch mix working right now with the curveball, that moving fastball, an occasional changeup, and a slider.
Chops it off the plate. Lindor has to hurry, and he still got him. What a play by Frankie, coming hard in, and on that hop off the grass, he was able to flip it over there.
Yeah, did you see that? He had quick hands. Boy, that ball right at the end, it took a really funny hop. You see where it was? He was going straight forward. I think it hit the cut of the grass, but he goes down with the glove hand and then quickly transfers it. See how fast that ball got into his hand and out?
Boom, yeah.
Really nice play on a tough hop.
Down low.
Three straight on that curveball to Machado. You can see why he's not going to make a mistake to this guy.
He grooved one.
Yes, he did.
And on a 3-0 pitch, it's deep to center field and gone, and we're tied at 1.
I can't believe he would throw him 3 straight curveballs and on a 3-0 count throwing the fastball right there. That was, I know he's got to be upset with himself. In a situation like that's hard to believe. Machado, his 6th home run. And he ties the game with 1 swing of bat to straightaway center field. This is the guy you just can't give in. And there was 3 straight curveballs and the fastball says, here you go. You know he's got to be swinging 3-0. That's hard to believe.
6 homers, 15 runs batted in now on the year for Machado. And Adam Jones trying to follow up with another home run, swings and misses. Curveball and in there for a strike.
He's pleading his case now like it might have been high, but he wanted to swing at that pitch and he couldn't. It sort of tied him up and he had to watch it go into the strike zone. So he's trying to get that pitch not called. Doing a little talking to Gabe Morales.
Low and away. Not biting on that fastball. It's off the plate. 2-2. Lindor takes care of that. 2 down. Within Furniture player profile. In the 2010 draft, Manny Machado was 3rd overall after Bryce Harper. Drew Pomeranz went 5th to the Indians in that draft. Curveball into Chris Davis for a strike. Davis, a guy you know he strikes out a lot, but he does not currently lead the Orioles in strikeouts. He's fanned 24 times. Teammate Tim Beckham has struck out 26 times. To deep center, back goes Zimmer, and it's over his head. It'll be a double for Davis.
Well, That's hard to believe when you said Beckham strikes out more, because you know you figured Davis would because he's a home run hitter, and that goes to show you on that line drive he just fooled Bradley Zimmer. He was drifting back. He never took his eye off that ball, and this guy's strong enough, and he gets the carry to get it over his head. That's one there. If you're a center fielder, you got to put your head down as soon as it goes off the bat and go to a certain spot. But that shows you how strong that Davis is. That will be his second double on the year, so a 2-out double. And both hits for the Orioles coming in this inning, both extra base hits.
Now Tim Beckham, who walked in the second inning.
Arch, you mentioned when Bradley Zimmer's playing and having to go back on the ball. I know talking to him in Puerto Rico, he was trying to play a little bit more shallow, and I know tonight he wanted to play a little bit more shallow because of the weather in this ballpark. So is that something you just have to learn in going forward?
Absolutely. I mean, I have no problem with him, but there's certain hitters that, you know what, he's either going to swing and miss or he's going to drive the ball and hit it hard. He's the one guy that you can play deeper against. Other hitters, I would totally agree.
Right. Well, even the Machado home run, if you watch where he was lined up and where he was, the way he was running back, it seems like he was playing catch up on that ball as well.
Well, those are the two guys, Machado and Davis, and maybe Andrew Jones or Adam Jones. I would certainly play deeper. A couple of steps, depending on the situation.
Nice pick by Roberto. Trying to throw that nasty slider. Beckham steps away. That fastball just off the plate, 3-0.
Really only the second time that he's been out of the stretch tonight, both times coming with 2 outs. He had 2 outs in the second inning and a walk, and after the solo home run he was back into the windup, and now a 2-out double. So we witness when he gets into that stretch, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Machado gets that ball. It's almost 110 miles an hour in straightaway center. Now, I don't care what temperature it is out. He's strong enough. He can hit out any ballpark. And look at, he challenged him, and that's what that look tells me right there. 3-0. I challenged him, and guess what? I got beat by him. That's all that said. He didn't want to walk him.
Well, because in this day and age, you can't expect the guy's going to be taking 3-0 anymore.
Not a good hitter like that. And with a team that has been struggling, they scored some runs yesterday, but overall they've been inconsistent. Let's put it that way. Yeah, this is the start of a 10-day homestand for Baltimore, where they get 4 with the Indians. They get the Rays coming in for 3, and the Tigers also for 3.
Fouled right back off the bat of Anthony Santander. No balls and 2 strikes. Routine roller, Jason Kipnis will throw him out. 4 complete from Baltimore. And a brand new ball game as Manny Machado knocks it off at 1 apiece. Baseball is brought to you by the 2018 Kia Sorento, the perfect getaway vehicle. Visit KiaDealers.com to learn more. And by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. The Babe Ruth Hall of Fame and Museum, located just outside Oriole Park here at Camden Yards in Baltimore. It's a great stop if you ever visit the ballpark here in Baltimore. This is where the legend all began. He was born right here in Baltimore. Let's go down to Andre, speaking of legends.
You talk about Francisco Lindor's swings, and you were talking about how he had to change it up a little bit last year, Arch, when he was going through a funk.
Right.
After this pitch, I'll tell you what he was going through in Puerto Rico. He admitted to me in Puerto Rico that he was having some issues, and he felt like he was overswinging. He was swinging out of his shoes, and he felt like on that home run that he hit in Game 1 in Puerto Rico, he let his hands do all the work, and he didn't get in front with his body. And he also moved that face guard from his face. You see that?
I did not recognize that. How about that?
Yeah, so maybe and if you watch this at bat, look how he kept his hands back, and he realized it's time for him to let his hands do a little bit of the work right now and not let the emotions of the moment take over. And I think he's still going through that right now.
Yeah, a lot of times when that body moves, it slows the hands down. That swing gets a little bit slower. You let those hands work, and all right, that thing's off the face guard. Okay.
Well, and he also, I think he's learned that he can trust his hands, and he said he didn't do that as much when he was younger, just a couple years ago.
He's off. Jason Kipnis pulls the bat back, takes a strike. Lindor's in there with a stolen base. And that's his 4th on the year.
Well, he wasted no time whatsoever. Cisco threw out Tyler Naquin back in the 2nd inning, but Frankie gets a stolen base. That's his 4th out of 5. Good jump. Put his head down. You can tell straight steal. Goes in head first and keeps that hand and the foot on the bag.
All right, guys, the big talk before the game with Tito and amongst the players about bunting. What will they do here after the 16-inning game the other night?
Well, let's take a look. Jason Kipnis not showing bunt. Fouls it right back. It's 0-2.
Tito doesn't want that to get into the guys' heads. He feels like they're a good team when they need to bunt. He feels like they just had a bad night on Wednesday with that situation, and it came back and bit them. But he didn't want it to be something that got in the players' minds.
And he's probably thinking right now it's too early in the game to.
Well, and he's got a job. Kipnis knows what his job is. His job is to get that guy over to 3rd base, regardless how it's done.
Check, ball's in the dirt. Lindor holds.
See, the thing of it is, these guys, he's had them really out in front most of the night. And then he's been jamming some guys, you know, with a fastball or not letting them get a good swing. Now when you're down 2 strikes, your object is to just put the ball in play. Hopefully you can get the job done.
Way out in front of it. Kipnis with a single in the first, came around to score the Indians' only run. He's now hit in 6 straight games. And fouls this one back out of play. Mentioned before, the Indians' team batting average coming into tonight with runners in scoring position only 205. Their overall team batting average is only 208.
Right.
And he's down on strikes.
That slider again. That's the 2nd straight time he's been able to get Jason Kipnis. That's strikeout number 6. And Andre, you're going to have to ask those guys if it's that tough to pick up the spin on that slider, because some of the swings they look defensive.
Well, the other thing is they feel like he hides the arm behind his body so well.
Okay,
and then the ball jumps out of his hand, is what a couple of the hitters have said already.
I got you, because they do look surprised, like they're having a tough time seeing it.
I think they had the same problem with the changeup early too.
But again, this is nothing new. As I said before, he is #1 in Major League Baseball with a swinging strike rate of 35% when he throws that slider.
But Matt, you mentioned something earlier too. I think a lot of guys are starting to pitch these guys backwards and not giving them a lot of fastballs early in the game.
Well, Rick, you said it earlier too. When he's throwing the fastball in this game, it's just to show. It's a way. It's
in and out. In and out, just to show. Nothing good to swing at. And when he gets behind the hitter, he's attacking him with his off-speed pitches, changeups, and sliders.
2-0. Same situation.
Okay, I don't think you'll see a fastball. Yes, you did.
Broke his bat.
No, that was a changeup. I'm sorry.
Santander makes the catch. 2 down.
Yeah, that was a changeup, the 2-0 changeup. And when you watch it, he is really mixing it up well, because there's the slider going down. Good fastball running away. There's another breaking ball. The slider's been his pitch. And you know, remember in the first inning we were talking about how many changeups he was throwing early?
Yeah.
And we'll see what he goes to when he has to get outs. It's been the slider.
The only good news for the Indians is that he's at 92 pitches, only the 5th inning. They've had traffic against him in every inning. 2 hits in the first, 1 hit in each of the next 3 innings, and a walk here in the 5th.
This is the guy where he has to be careful. Here is Michael Brantley. Brantley 2 for 2 off of him. You know, even though it's a tie game, you have first base open, you have the right-hander on deck, and that's where he's very tough against right-handers this year. So he would be, I think, a little more careful here with Brantley.
Out of play. Well, we'll see if Bundy goes to the slider.
Michael just fouled one off on that last pitch. Got him with the heater.
Popped him up. Mancini makes the grab. A runner left in scoring position. Halfway through, tied at 1.
home, and the Chicago Cubs will be in town. The first time that they've been there since the 2016 World Series. You can grab a district ticket, or you can get a $10 KeyBank Kids ticket. Go to Indians.com.
Hit him. Chance Cisco is aboard. He struck out his first time up.
Well, a Chance takes one right off the toe. Didn't move the foot. No need to. He'll take first base. That's the third hitter that Bauer has hit this year.
Showing bunt and pulling it back was Luis Sardinas.
Well, the way this game's going, it doesn't surprise me now. Fifth inning, you're going to see him try and bunt him over.
Especially with the bottom of the order.
Bottom of the order, you're right. Coming into the game, he was only hitting 125. You know, only 9 at bats.
Fouled back. Ramirez in on the grass at third. Not showing bunt though. Sardinas takes a strike. And now the count is 1-2, and Ramirez will back up. In the hole, base hit. Cisco's going to go to third. And the Orioles have runners at the corners with nobody out.
Well, he hit the hole, and it wasn't hit very hard, and that allowed the catcher, Cisco, to go all the way to third base easily with no throw. It's a fastball that comes back over. He just tops it, but it finds the hole. Not at Kipnis, so Orioles with a very good start to this fifth inning. First and third, nobody out.
And now you've got the top of the order. Trey Mancini, 0 for 2 on the night. Now Bauer has the ability to go for strikeouts. And he could definitely use one right here. Mancini has struck out 17 times and 79 at bats. Buckled him with a good curveball, and it's 1-on-1.
That's the key. You got to get ahead of that hitter to where you can expand his strike zone and go for that punch out. The hitter's sitting for a situation here. He's looking for a pitch elevated. He can drive a little bit, but you can expand his strike zone when you get ahead of the hitters with runners in scoring position. Second straight curveball in that situation. That's not what you're looking for as a hitter. But now Trevor's got him. Second good breaking ball in a row. Look at that curveball right on the outside edge.
And the 1-2. He went fishing for it, got a piece. Ran the fastball away to see if he'd chase after it. He did not, and the count evens at 2-2.
Well, he had thrown him 4 straight curveballs in that at bat, so he was just going to throw the fastball. It wasn't going to be hittable, where he could put it in play. He just overthrew that pitch and it was way outside, but that was to take him off the curveballs.
Coming right back to that curveball. And it's blasted up the L. Cisco scores the go-ahead run. Sardinia's being waved around. Lindor's throw at the plate is not in time. A 2-run double for Trey Mancini, and the Orioles lead it 3-1.
And I think he was ready for that breaking ball. I really do. He was looking for it. After that one fastball, he missed with the first one, comes back and hits with the next 2. And then he expanded that zone, threw that fastball, comes back, and that one stayed middle of the plate. That was not where he wanted the location. He plugs the gap in left center field. Mancini gives the Orioles a lead with his 6th and 7th RBI and his 5th double. So the leadoff spot still treating him kindly.
Pedro Alvarez 0 for 2 on the night. Nobody out. And the Indians bullpen just now getting some action. Zach McAllister starting to throw for Cleveland. Now what you have to do if you're Bauer is stay out of a big inning, because with Alvarez, then Machado, Jones, and Davis, the damage they can do could make this a big inning for Baltimore.
They'll minimize the damage now because the first 3 have reached. It started with a hit batter.
Good pitch from Bauer gets him ahead of the count 1-2.
Another changeup by Trevor. He's thrown 2 or 3 in this at bat. This one looked like it had a little more speed than normal, but it was in an excellent location. As I said, Trevor looking for his first career win in this ballpark. 0-3 here.
First time through the order, he was dominant. Second time around, different story.
Send along some happy birthday wishes to Jake Marzulli, who is turning 14 today. Jake, happy birthday to you.
Swung on and missed. And he strikes him out. Now it's time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Mookie Betts and the Boston Red Sox continue to steamroll their way through the American League. They started the day 16-2 with a 7-game winning streak. Look at the best 18-game starts in baseball. Boston's right there.
Oh yeah, they are. They just intentionally walked Manny Machado.
How good is Mookie Betts, though? Buck Showalter of the Orioles says, quote, "I've told anyone who will listen, he's the best right fielder I've ever seen in person. The dynamic he creates for them is a big advantage. Special player, game changer. The term 5-tool player is used loosely, but he's one of my favorite players in the game."
Yeah, when he doesn't have to play the Orioles, I'm sure. And they play him 19 times.
It's pretty high praise from the guys trying to beat him.
No doubt.
Adam Jones 0 for 2. Adam Jones, interesting note by the Orioles tonight. 250 career home runs as a center fielder. He's in a very small circle.
Yes, he did.
Of people as he went too far, 1-1. Among American League center fielders, the only guys who've hit more home runs than Adam Jones: Mickey Mantle, Ken Griffey Jr., Joe DiMaggio, your guy Fred Lynn, and Bernie Williams.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. He has been a force here for a number of years.
Two-one pitch hit down a left field line, foul.
Cost him a bat, hit it off the end of the bat.
Well, Adam Jones, you know, he's one of the veterans on this club. And after they lost their 6th straight yesterday in Detroit, he said, quote, "We really need to get better." He said, "That's everybody, top to bottom." And he said, "I think everybody feels the same way."
And that's why they're happy to get home, and they you know, start a string of 10 games. They usually play very well at their home park. And these are guys, they don't make excuses. They realize you're playing bad, and it's one thing. You've got to, the only one that can turn it around is you as an individual and as a team.
Meanwhile, for Trevor Bauer, he's trying to navigate his way through a minefield here in the 5th inning. He's allowed 2 runs in this inning to give Baltimore a 3-1 lead. And he's trying to hold them right there. To short, Lindor gets one there. Kitten is on the relay. It's in time, an inning ending double play. So the Orioles take the lead, but Bauer keeps the Indians within striking distance, 3-1 through 5. Lozano, your registration is free. You get an Indian cycling jersey, and 100% of the dollars raised supports cancer research at Cleveland Clinic. Visit velosano.org/Indians for details on joining their team. Edwin Encarnacion leads off the 6th for Cleveland. Dylan Bundy now has a 2-run advantage. Baltimore's bullpen is busy as Bundy closes in on 100 pitches for the night. And it's not the pitch count that a manager, a pitching coach are looking at. It's the fact that he's had to work in and around some trouble. Bases loaded in the 1st. He had a base runner in the 2nd, double in the 3rd, base runner in the 4th, and in the 5th inning. Edwin is called out on strikes. He doesn't like it. He lets Gabe Morales know it. That's 7 Ks for Bundy.
Well, I'll tell you what, it didn't look like it was that bad of a pitch. It's he's sitting away, and this ball comes on the inside part of the plate. Where it goes into our pitch tracks there is not a bad pitch. It's on the inside. I think, if anything, Edwin thought it was going to be low, you know, out of the strike zone.
Yonder Alonso 0 for 2 tonight. Swung out and missed, challenged him with a fastball, but again, you see the dot. Fastballs tonight for the most part. Especially with the left-handed hitters up there, they have been away. Outside edge. He hasn't missed in the fat part of the plate very many times tonight.
Well, he's certainly been Baltimore's best starting pitcher this year, and he's still looking for his first win. So I guarantee you, Buck's not going to let this get out of reach for him. Now he has a 2-run lead. Even though he is over the 100 pitch count now.
And with all those left-handed hitters the Indians have, they've got a left-hander up in the pen.
Yeah. So he's probably here for Alonso and Perez, and then we'll see him flip him over.
Out in front again, 1-2.
But he's really kept a lot of the left-handers, you know, off balance tonight very well. As good as a left-hander could do it.
That's the only left-hander the Orioles have, Richard Blyer.
The hardest ball hit of the night for the Indians is the one that's been right past his head from off the bat of Tyler Naquin.
Yeah.
It's a line drive base hit, and then, you know, he's pitched his way and navigated his way through that lineup pretty well. Indians with 5 hits. They've out hit the Orioles, but the Orioles with the 2-run lead.
Well, that's like the other night in Puerto Rico. I looked up at the scoreboard, and at one point the Indians had twice as many, if not more than that, hits over the Twins. But that one hit to break it open, or putting a couple of hits together to really get an inning going, they just
couldn't get it done.
Never got any traction. Similar story so far tonight. 2-2. Swung on and missed. 8 Ks for Bundy. 2 down. Big game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Edwin got nicked by a pitch with the bases loaded in the 1st. It's the only run the Indians have. Manny Machado tied it with the Orioles' first hit of the night. It came with 1 out in the 4th inning and tied it. Then in the 5th, Trey Mancini, with 2 strikes, doubled up the left center field alley. And the Orioles scored a pair to take the lead. Now Roberto swings and misses. Perhaps Bundy, knowing that the finish line is near for him, he's getting better here.
Yeah, he's going to give you everything he's got left in the tank, no doubt. And a slider, and he's been awfully tough. I tell you, coming into today's game, I told you right-handers hitting just a $105 against him.
Slider. He strikes out the side here in the 6th. 3-1 Baltimore. continues tomorrow afternoon from Camden Yards. Indians Orioles. It's game 2 of this 4-game series. Indians live at 3:30. First pitch with us at 4 on Sports Time Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. April in the OHIO, presented by Menards. Tyler Naquin will lead it off. Or excuse me. It'll be Chris Davis leading it off. Naquin will lead off when the Indians come to bat in the 7th inning. Right now, Bauer trying to hold him at 3-1. Davis doubled his last time up, checks the swing and fouls it out of play. A double into 4th, only his 3rd hit at home this year.
Well, ball he smoked a straightaway center and got it over the head of Tyler Naquin.
Trevor got him to chase one up the ladder. Tyler Olsen getting loose.
I said Naquin, I meant Zimmer.
Yeah, and as you said at the time, it's not an easy guy to hit one over the head of because of how well he covers ground out there. Man, close, but just a tad high. Off the end of the bat, slowly hit. Ramirez has to hurry. No play. An infield hit for Chris Davis to start the 6th.
Nothing you could do there. Off the end of the bat, they have the shift over there, and he hits it the other way. And even when you're a power hitter and you smell an infield hit, watch him go down the line. I bet he hasn't run down the line that hard all year, but he smells a hit. It heads straight down. He is digging, man. He wants a single. He gets it. But now the hits are tied at 5, and Davis gets his 2nd.
He had 2 hits in his first 23 at bats at home, and now he's got 2 hits tonight.
Yep. Well, those are the ones you take. Sometimes those little ones like that can get you going as a hitter.
Tim Beckham has walked both times tonight. He had 6 walks total in his first 19 games. And as I mentioned, he led the team with 26 strikeouts coming into this game. Sky high, shallow center. Zimmer is there. 1 down. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. Mike Napoli. His season and possibly career over after a pretty severe right knee injury. Talking about a pretty lengthy recovery process. So who knows what the future holds. Andre Knott has some insight.
Well, Tito has talked to Mike, and he hopes that he wants to coach and help out coaching in any way possible. It is going to take some time for him to even have the surgery on his knee because of the swelling and everything else, so it could be 10 to 12 days before they can have that surgery. Also, Danny Salazar is throwing some bullpens, and the team is optimistic, cautiously optimistic, that he's turned a corner and getting closer to being able to throw in some games. Ryan Merritt is throwing his final pin out in Arizona. Will begin a rehab in Columbus very shortly, and Gio is playing tonight. Urshela, 7 innings for Columbus.
Thanks, Andre. Popped up. Playable. Alonso coming in and makes the grab. 2 down.
Send out some more birthday wishes. Dolores Macon of Wadsworth celebrating her birthday today, and Helen Zidiak of Culver City, California, celebrating her 90th. Happy birthday.
The batter is Chance Cisco, and this is where the trouble started for Bauer in the 5th. Looked like just a harmless curveball, but
the leadoff,
Cisco on the big toe.
The leadoff man gets aboard, and the next thing you know, they get a base hit, they get back-to-back hits, and that's where 2 runs scored quickly.
Fouled back. Minnesota's down in Tampa, where the Rays lead the Twins 3-2 in the 7th inning. Swung out and missed. It's 1-2. Kansas City and Detroit playing a doubleheader. Tigers beat the Royals in the first game 3-2
in 10 innings,
and that extended the Royals' losing streak to 9 in a row. Now they're tied 1-1. What was that, 7th inning?
Yes.
In game 2 of that doubleheader. One-two pitch from Bauer. It's low. Chance Cisco with a 2-ball 2-strike count. The switch hitting Luis Sardinas waiting on deck. Bauer just over 100 pitches. Tito has right-hander Zach McAllister ready in the pen. He strikes him out to end the inning. 6 Ks for Bauer. We'll go to the 7th with the Indians down 2. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. The Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen has been made for the first time in this game tonight as we enter the 7th inning of play. Left-hander Richard Blyer, the only southpaw in the Baltimore bullpen, on to face the bottom part of the Indians lineup, and Tito goes to his bench as Rajay Davis will pinch hit for Tyler Naquin, who was 2 for 2 on the night.
You know that Blyer is certainly going to get some work for Buck Showalter coming out of that bullpen as the only left-hander.
Raj trying to bunt his way aboard, fouls it off.
His 12 2/3 innings to this point leads all left-handed relievers in all of baseball, but he's done a beautiful job. 57 appearances out of the pen last year for him. So Bundy, another good start, Matt.
Yeah.
Come in and they had one in the first, and how they got their run, it was just a little, you know, he nicked Encarnacion with the bases loaded and got him the one run, but then he just tightened it down, man. He didn't allow anything after that.
108 pitches, 9 strikeouts. His slider was.
He got better as the game went along, as you said. He sure did.
Jay Davis trying to start something here in the 7th, but in the hole, 0-2. Tigers have just gone ahead of Kansas City as they have now gone to the 8th inning, 2-1 Detroit. Davis lifts one to center. Adam Jones. One down.
Well, pick up a KeyBank Kids ticket for $10 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. The tickets are located in the family deck out of Progressive Field. Kids tickets are only available at Indians.com.
Now Brandon Geyer will bat for Bradley Zimmer.
That's where you see Tito going to the bench in the 7th inning now, with the only left-hander in the game for, or you know, that the Orioles have out of that pen, as you mentioned. You know, the way they've been swinging the bats, he's got to take every out means a lot. So he needs all the help he can get right here offensively.
Well, this 3rd time through the Indians order, they're pretty dreadful. 0 for 7, 4 strikeouts. And there's a beautiful thing. Bouncing ball down the right field line. Geyer with a big turn. He's going to go for 2. Santander's throw not even close.
Good hustle.
And Brandon Geyer with a 1-out double.
You know, Brandon he made that double right coming out of the box. He was able to see it go down the right field line. And when you're down 2 runs, you have to make it. You can't afford to get thrown out. But I'll tell you, I love the hustle here. Make something happen. And he beats it to second base because he felt it right out of the batter's box where doubles are made. Good turn at first base. By the time Santander could get the ball to second, he slides in safely. So a 1-out double gets a guy in scoring position now for the Tribe and brings a tying run to the plate.
I know these guys that have these roles know what they have to do to get themselves ready. But to think you sit around for 6 innings and all of a sudden jump in and then bang, you've got to be spot on to get to second base. Lindor is going to bounce out, 2 down. Geyer goes to 3rd.
Well, the one thing, man, they don't sit around. They're in the cages, they're hitting, they're doing everything. It's just like they're working out back there. In between innings, they'll go and do a little of everything, stretching, hitting, whatever.
Maybe get on the treadmill to get the legs good and limbered up.
Oh yeah, they're whatever it takes.
Well, Lindor had a good idea. I mean, I like the thinking there, just trying to bounce it the other way, take a page from Geyer's book, but couldn't get it past Davis. And so with 2 down, here we go again, looking for that clutch hit. Jason Kipnis is 1 for 3 on the night. And looks at the ball in the dirt. Up and in, almost got him. Spun out of the way. That's low, 3 balls, no strikes. And Jose Ramirez waits on deck. Baltimore bullpen is quiet. Ball 4.
Well, that's not what Blyer wanted to do.
Now you bring the go-ahead run to the plate, and Jose Ramirez is 0 for 2 with a walk.
Certainly not the way you draw it up. He missed with 4 straight to Jason Kipnis. So now a good opportunity for Jose.
Ramirez so far this year is 5 for 17 against left-handed pitching.
Much better from this side of the plate than he is from the left side, that's for sure.
One of his 4 home runs also coming as a right-handed hitter. Those are certainly encouraging numbers.
They just need a 2-out base hit, just something to spark them.
Up the middle, and it's cut off, and the flip to second in time. An unbelievable play by Manny Machado. Snuffs out a potential Indians rally with 2 outs in the 7th inning.
Rewards. Today's Drive Rewards code is YONDER. Visit Indians.com for complete details.
As we promised you earlier, it's time for our Miller Lite Hold True moment. And this was quite a moment for Baltimore. The range Machado showed to get to it was one thing, but then on his belly, the little backhanded flip to get the force and get Baltimore out of trouble.
No doubt. That saved a run right there, and you never know what happens after that inning or after that hitter.
Boy, that gets through. The Indians have some momentum, have some life. Instead, they still trail it 3-1. Brandon Guyer stays in the game in right field. Rajay Davis stays in the game in center field. Zach McAllister still up in the Indians bullpen, but it's Trevor Bauer who comes out to start here in the 7th, and I'm not sure what the issue is, but Roberto Perez has gone to the Indians dugout.
Do you have equipment problems, or?
Looks like Jeff Desjardins is performing some type of
working on the glove, guys.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's usually happens.
looks like one of the strings came out, and JD's trying to
do quick work. Doing some surgery on it.
As Cookie
trying
Carrasco,
to stitch it up.
As Cookie Carrasco grabs Jan Gomes' glove and puts it on.
Well, Trevor Bauer was, through the first 3 innings, he had allowed 1 base runner. That was a walk to Tim Beckett. Then in the 4th inning, he gave up the game-tying home run to Manny Machado on a 3-0 fastball that he grooved, and Machado hit it out to center field. Then in the 5th, he hit the leadoff man with a curveball on the big toe, Chance Sisco. Then a base hit by Sardinius, and the next man up, Trey Mancini, hit a 2-run double. Just like that, it was 3-1 Baltimore, and that's the way it stands here in the bottom of the 7th inning, with Sardinius leading it off. Slowly tapped up the first base line. Bauer has it. He'll apply the tag. 1 away. The 107 pitches for Bauer tonight, the most in any of his starts this year, this being his 4th. He has made as many as 125 pitches in a game. And that was back in a game in May of last year.
Was it Toronto?
At Toronto, at the Rogers Center.
Okay, I remember that, yeah. He's a guy you don't worry about, though, with pitch count. You know what I mean? He can go out there and, well, he needs 1 more strikeout to keep that string going of 7. And this being his 4th start of the year. But not that that matters, because you're down 2 runs. He wants to just put a 0 on that board and have 1 more chance for that offense to get an opportunity to score, get him back into the game.
2-1 to Trey Mancini.
See that 4th and the 5th, a couple of 20 pitch innings or a little bit more.
Foul back and almost picked off Pedro Alvarez in the on-deck circle.
That ball looked like it was a little bit off the plate, but it was a fastball and it went right off the end of the bat.
I don't know what it says on the from a dimension standpoint, but Arch, when you walk out of the dugout in this ballpark, it feels like you're almost on top of home plate already.
Yeah.
This ballpark just has the feel of everything being very close.
Well, because the backstop is not that far away. It's very close to home plate.
High pop-up, shallow center. Kipnis backpedaling. He's under it, but he gives way to Rajay, and Davis puts it away 2-0. I'll bring up Pedro Alvarez. Likelihood this is the last hitter for Trevor Bauer tonight. Alvarez is a guy, and we have seen this with him when he was with the Pirates. He's a guy that can be hot and streaky. And this year already, he's had back-to-back 5 RBI games.
Well, he's got that zone. He likes the ball down. He can hit it down in the strike zone.
2-0. Took a good whack at that one, but fouls it straight back.
And he got the fastball to take a good swing at. We saw a steady diet of off-speed pitches earlier in the game.
Hammers it right at Jason Kipnis, and he throws him out. Trevor Bauer finishes with a 1-2-3 7th inning. We'll go to the 8th. 3-1 Baltimore. All right, thanks, Al. Richard Blyer stays on to face Michael Brantley here in the 8th inning. Presumably only to face Brantley. With Darren O'Day heating up in the Baltimore pen, you would think they'll bring him on to face Edwin. But we'll see.
Yeah, the only left-hander that Blyer faced last time was Kipnis last inning, and he didn't throw him a strike.
To left field, and routine play for Mancini, 1 down.
Do we see Buck coming out? We do not.
You gotta stay with the lefty, Blyer.
Well, 2-run lead, you got Alonso on deck.
Edwin does not have a hit against a left-handed pitcher this year.
Still doesn't.
0 for 17. With 2 down, Yonder Alonso 0 for 3 on the night is the batter. He came into this game with a hit in 5 straight games. Swings and fouls that back. Two of Yonder's 3 home runs this year have come against left-handed pitchers. Left field, Mancini again in the foul down. Slide, can't make the catch. And is he all right?
Oh, I don't know. Looked like that knee went into the padding. That ball was slicing away from him, and as he thought he was going to make a catch, I'll bet that knee. I don't know if it hit the padding, or check and see if it goes underneath where it's cement. He's sliding in, and that's what happened. It might have got underneath that pad.
That hurts. And
caught a little bit of cement there. Yes, it does. Good effort. And you see, oh boy, that one leg was on the pad, but the right knee was not. Boy, that's a stinger. He's just sitting there to try to get some feeling in there. Now, he's normally a first baseman, but they made him work in the outfield, and he's done a nice job. It's just going to take a while to get some feeling back into it, but he smashed that wall very hard on an excellent effort trying to catch that ball.
They announced 58 degrees at game time, but it's cool. It's pretty chilly.
Damp out here. He said he's fine. He's going to stay out there. Good for him. He just needed some time. But I'll tell you what, that's what it takes. He went in there all out. He just missed the ball, but you can see where that knee goes underneath the padding, and that's cement under there. There may be padding all the way down tomorrow. You know? That's tough. You don't think
he's
that's
coming out, isn't he?
Oh, I guess he is. He tried to run, and it looks like the trainer and Buck made a call. They said, no, that's all right. We'll get somebody else out. Defense. Is this Gentry that'll be coming out?
Craig Gentry is number 14. Yes, sir. That's him. Yeah, I was just looking. They really don't have anybody that's a true outfielder other than Gentry on the bench.
Yeah, that's a good effort. And, you know, he drove in the last 2 runs for the Orioles. Mancini.
So they'll give Gentry a couple of lobs of the baseball out there in left field just to get his arm loose, and now he's ready to go. And Yonder Alonso climbs back in, already in the hole 0-2. Richard Blyer delivers, and he strikes him out. 2 scoreless frames for the Baltimore left-hander. 3-1 O's. Presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Baltimore, bottom of the 8th inning coming up. New pitcher for the Indians is Zach McAllister. He's trying to hold Baltimore at bay and give the Indians bats one last chance to try and rally. He'll face Manny Machado, Adam Jones, and Chris Davis. McAllister had a good outing his last time coming out of the pen. That was in the second game of the Minnesota series in Puerto Rico. He worked 2/3 of a scoreless inning. He's retired the first batter he has faced 5 out of 7 times, and that's important here with a guy like Machado at the plate because he can do damage. Tied the game at 1 back in the 4th inning with a 6th home run.
On a 3-0 pitch. Back in that 4th, Trevor Bauer went with 3 straight curveballs that he missed with, and then challenged him with a fastball, and Machado hit it to straightaway center to tie the game.
Fouled right back.
That ball was there, ran in on him. A little two-seamer.
Past first base coach Wayne Kirby. Even with the music blaring during the pregame batting practice, we could hear Wayne Kirby's voice down on the field.
Yes, you could. But that's no surprise because you always could.
Out of play.
Despite that, but I don't know how Perez got to it, and he caught it. That one's over in the left-handed batter's box, but evens the count now at 2.
Foul back.
This is a tough out. Grounded out to Trevor Bauer, his first at-bat homered, and then he was intentionally walked.
And a full count. Shoots one to right field. Brandon Geyer makes the chest high grab for out number 1. Take a look at our Kia Drive to Success. Bullpen ERA in the American League thus far. Blue Jays with a 2.30. The Indians are next at 2.79. And this is a bullpen that also had to deal with a long layoff. You know, you think about the team had games rained out last Saturday and Sunday. Monday was an off day. And then Tuesday was Corey Kluber Day.
Right, that's an off day.
And so by the time Wednesday rolled around, I remember talking to Nick Goody before the game in Puerto Rico. He said, I haven't pitched in like 6 days.
Yeah, that happens. You know, you run through spurts like that, you know, depending, and a lot of it's been weather related for a lot of clubs. And sometimes during the year, you know, your starters will get on a roll, and the starters have been on a roll for the Cleveland this year. But then there's times where they get used a lot too. There's certain situations where, as mentioned, we have 18 games in 17 days. That could turn around.
Adam Jones 0 for 3 on the night. Good pitch by Zach. Fastball kept it right in on him.
Yeah, he didn't allow him any swinging room. And it's a good thing he swung over this, because watch, he's sitting away. Look at that pitch. That's about a foot off the plate inside, but that was a little knife ball. Just took off.
You know, it's funny. You think about like the average person, if they could just stand in that batter's box and see what a 95-mile-an-hour fastball looks like.
Big straight.
And then think about the guys that can throw 100.
Well,
and 95 to 100 might not seem like that much, but if you're standing down there, it has to.
well, the velocity's one thing, the movement's another. When you see that, like that little two-seamer that's darting, and you see it out here, the next thing you know, it disappears. These guys don't mind the velocity. They're big leaguers. You know, normal people, they have no concept. I mean, you may think you can stand in there, but let me tell you something, I got no clue.
That'd be one thing. It's like, you can stand in the batter's box,
No.
and most of us would be backing away.
No. You'd be in the batter's box about 3 feet outside, afraid of getting hit.
Geyer, does he have any room over there? No, sir.
How many times do you hear people, hey, did you ever play ball? Yeah, when I was a kid, I played ball. Well, why are you a doctor or a lawyer now? Well, because they started spinning it on me and I couldn't hit it. I was afraid to get hit by the pitch. You got to take a couple and make sure it feels okay before you can play. This is it's not easy once you get in there.
I stood in there against large Lenny Barker when he was 60.
Where, at Fantasy Camp? Yeah.
Here's the 3-2. Ripped to left. That's going to be fair down the line in the corner. No, it's a foul ball. Jones had put his head down. I thought, reacting off of him, that he knew something that maybe we didn't.
He knew he hit it well.
Yeah.
See, now this one, that one didn't move as much as the one did earlier, and it was at 96, I believe that said. And look at that. He turned it around like it came off the bat harder than it came in, I'll tell you. They make adjustments. Hitters are amazing. You can get them a couple of times. That's the hardest thing to do for me. I still believe in sports, is to hit a baseball.
That fastball was moving too, and it hit the bag. Jones will have himself a stand-up double with 1 out.
How's that for an at-bat? He looked silly early in that at-bat and hit 2 BBs at the end. One foul, the next one hit the base.
You talked about the movement. Watch how much this ball moves, but it moves right into his barrel.
Yeah, but see, he's thrown him 3 pitches in there. And he's seen enough of them. He didn't throw anything to go the other way. You know, maybe break off a breaking ball instead of the 2-seamer. The hitters, if you consistently throw a certain pitch, will be ready for it. I love the movement and everything like that, but 3 in the same spot will show you that Jones made the adjustment in that at-bat. And it was a very good at-bat.
Well, here's Chris Davis, 2 for 3. fouled off a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. McAllister, you know, we saw him try to throw a breaking ball slider to Jones, but it bounced in the other batter's box. It's a pitch that obviously he's worked on quite a bit. But it's a matter of, do you have the confidence in that pitch when you have to throw it?
Right. And there's
And obviously for him, he feels like when he's got to throw a striker, he's looking for an out. He's going to keep throwing his fastball.
Well, he's a fastball guy, and he's been working very hard with the breaking ball. But this is that two-seamer's taken off more than I've seen in a long time. He was, you know, I'd say a couple of years ago, a four-seam guy where it was pretty straight, and that's the only thing he could throw was that fastball, move it in and out and up and down.
To the backstop. Roberto got a good kick off the back wall, but then he couldn't find the handle to get a throw off.
This is a park where you can get somebody like that if you play the carom off that cement, but I'll tell you what, it lets that guy get into third base with less than 2 outs. He spikes this one, man, at his feet, and there's nothing Perez could do there. That's a wild pitch, and now McAllister's got to go for a punch out. Punch out or a pop-up, because the infield's going to stay in. And he's normally not a ground ball guy. He usually hits a ball in the air.
Yeah, he's got that classic uppercut.
Yeah, he sure does. Typical left-hander. He's got to concentrate and get a good pitch.
Well, 3-2. He doesn't have to even give in to him here. You got a right-handed hitters back-to-back on deck.
Elevate the fastball in on his hands. Won't let him get any swinging.
He
there.
did it.
And you look for a pop-up or a punch-out.
Back out of play, yeah.
He's a good low ball hitter, Crash Davis. He can hit it. He can hit it a long way, man. But if you find his zone, but don't give it to him. You elevate it, let her high. If he wants to swing at it, you get a chance to swing through it or pop it up.
Out of play again.
Get it down. Big run there at third base, because now with the Indians with 3 outs remaining on their end, you know, they need a base runner to even tie the game.
High pop up on the infield or shallow right. Let's see. Kipnis backpedaling.
I'll tell you what, that thing was up there for wow, that was about as high as you could get, but he keeps him at third. Good pitch. Way to come back. Get a look at the elevated fastball. There it is, and it was middle of the plate, so he wanted to get started, and I mean, he hit this a mile high. But you get the second out. Now a chance to get out of it.
Kansas City took advantage of a throwing error by Nico Goodrum, and they score 2 in the 9th to take a 3-2 lead on the Tigers, and they hold on to win it by a final of 3-2, ending their 9-game losing streak. Kipnis has another pop-up and makes the catch. So Zach McAllister does a good job getting out of the 8th inning, and will go to the 9th, 3-1 Baltimore. 3-1. Recapping our storylines, brought to you by Ford. Offense still looking for the clutch hit. 1 for 9, 1 for their last 22 overall. And if this is Manny Machado's last season in Baltimore, well, he's still the guy that you identify as the guy you don't want to let beat you.
Yeah, the face of the franchise. Well, he not only hit the solo home run to tie the game, he saved a run also.
Yes.
To keep it a 3-2 game at shortstop, made a beautiful play at second base.
So here in the ninth, Darren O'Day will come on for Baltimore. 8th appearance of the year. And O'Day looking for his first save. Brad Brock leads the club currently with 3.
Well, you remember back in that 7th inning when they flipped the left-handers over to the right-handers when they're on deck, when you get Davis and Geyer. That's why O'Day's in there. Put Blyer in, coming in for the 7th. He gave up the 1 hit but pitched 2 good innings of relief. Walked 1, struck 1 out.
Roberto Perez had a tough night at the plate. 0 for 3, has punched out all 3 times.
That was a good pitch. Caught a break. This was a really good pitch. It wasn't called. Right on the outside edge.
Way outside. Oh, looked like a pretty good pitch, but it's taken for a strike. 2-2. Baltimore without their closer, Zach Britton, who is still recovering from a right Achilles injury. They are hoping to get him back either by the end of May or sometime in June.
Still a ways away.
Now the 2-2. Strike 3 called.
Came back. He had to be sitting on the slider in that situation. He took the fastball right there. That's when you know you're guessing at a pitch. You watch it. He had the slider that he started at him, and here's that little sinking fastball at 88, and it just freezes him, and he couldn't pull the trigger. So he goes down for out number 1.
Rajai Davis, 0 for 1. He came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and flied to center.
11 strikeouts for Indians hitters tonight.
The starter Dylan Bundy struck out 9 in 6 innings of work. Rajai fouling it off and batting all the way back to the on-deck circle.
Past Brandon Geyer, who was standing over there. Good thing he saw it coming all the way. It's cool enough tonight where we saw a few hands slip off the bat. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't know if that Stickham's working here.
Doesn't have quite the same grip to it. O'Day ready. The 1-1 to Davis. And it's called a strike. Bottom of the zone.
For the 2nd strike, he starts that slider. Looks like it's going at the hitter. Raj thought that ball might have been a little inside.
hit him.
Oh, yes, it did. It sure did.
And now the tying run will come to the plate.
Got him right on the hand, and it looks like it's hurt.
It was just last week in Cleveland when Raj was cut above his left eye trying to steal second base. His batting helmet flew off and came back and nicked him. He had to get a couple of stitches. Now he's probably got some serious pain running up his arm.
Yeah, looked like it caught him on that forearm. Don't know if it ricocheted after that. As you can see, it's just above the wrist. I love when the docs come out and they say, squeeze my hand. I would if I could feel my hand, but I can't squeeze it.
The indestructible Rajai Davis.
Well, I'll tell you what it does. It brings that tying run to the dish now with that hit batter. After the first strikeout, now you have an opportunity. You want to keep right on rolling. He gave you a break with that first runner. Had Raj down in the count to 2 strikes.
Brandon Geyer doubled to right field. He just shot one by first baseman Chris Davis in the 7th inning. Takes a first pitch strike. If this was a one-run game, it might be a completely different strategy for Rajai Davis, but down 2, there's no real reason for him to force the issue.
That's true. Now it's going to be a battle for Brandon. Started him off with the fastball first pitch, breaking ball second pitch, and he has him down 0-2. He can throw just about anything.
To center field, but Adam Jones has it played perfectly, and there are 2 down. Francisco Lindor coming to the plate. But this was game 1 of that series in Puerto Rico. He sent a fly ball that was as high as it was far. Seemed like that thing was in the air forever. And when it finally came down, it was over the fence, and the place went bananas. And Lindor reacting as the way you would expect him to react. He was going crazy. A different crowd scenario tonight. Frosty Orioles fans rising to their feet. Never heard the attendance. Not a huge crowd tonight. Davis takes off, not really holding him. He'll go to second. They announced 4 folks over 20,000. Lindor obviously has a pretty good read on O'Day. I'm sure O'Day recalls that as well.
I don't think he's going to give Lindor anything moving into the inside part of his bat. This one swing could tie it up. Looks like a heavy diet of sinkers going down in the way, and see if he can get a ground ball.
Now the 1-1. Boy, did he pull the string on that baby.
Backdoor slider, yes. But you know, normally when you're a hitter, you see that ball start away, you're a little hesitant to go after because normally his natural action is in a sink to it. But he has down to his last strike.
And the 1-2. Struck him out. Baltimore ends a 6-game losing streak. They beat the Indians 3-1. Dylan Bundy gets the win, his first of the year. He's now 1-2. The save, his first to Darren O'Day. Lost to Trevor Bauer. He's now 1-2. With the win, Baltimore is now 6-14. Indians fall to 9-8 on the year. Just another frustrating evening for the Indians offensively in that they were able